Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel, and you are here today to listen to a song I've selected simply because of the euphoria that's surrounding all of the songs with Eurovision. So I'm going back a year. I'm going to the young man that came second for Switzerland in the 2021 Eurovision Song Contest. Now, coming second to Måneskin is something I would be proud of, trust me. And he's done really, really well. The Voice in France, the Superstar finalist, he was recently in just before Christmas there, and he's kept himself going, and he's done interviews about how he felt about being number two. And Gions Tears is the man I'm talking about. He is an exceptional singer. He's come back with Silhouette. I love the images, but most of all, I've reacted to him before, so check him out on my channel and do go looking for him. He's extraordinary. I just find that this is a guy that will grow and grow and grow. And it wouldn't surprise me, everybody, that in the near future, the next year or two, this young man might come back to represent Switzerland again and just steal the competition. He really will. He's a fabulous singer, fabulous lyricist. I've got the lyrics translated in front of me. As always, I do that. It's in 16 languages, everybody, more even. Do comment if you like this as well. Do tell me who your favorite entry this year is for Eurovision. I'm still sticking with Spain. Yes, my partner is Spanish, but at the same time, I feel it's a very festive, great song. Now, attached to this video, just to let you know, is my reaction to Aiden, who went forth to the final to try and represent Malta in the Eurovision for 2022. Now, he wasn't selected, he came second. But there's been quite a few controversies as to what's going on, because you have Spain in Benidorm with the voting system. You had in the Ukraine almost a meltdown with people saying, what? And everybody reacted too quickly, I felt, and didn't do the research quite enough, because I was following a scandal and I said I'll hold back on the Ukraine. And it turned out the people protested to the broadcasting company so much that Cluj, who I've done a reaction to and why I felt justified in doing a reaction to, that they should have won, did win. And they're now representing Ukraine, and Alina was pushed aside for a whole load of reasons. So check that out. That's worth checking if you're into Eurovision. But back to Silhouette, back to Gions Tears. Excellent, excellent singer. I love this young man's voice. Now, when he went forth, I hold my hands up to this. When he went forth in the competition, my partner said, what a wonderful voice. I hope he wins. And he was in a battle with France, Voila. And that was the name of the song. Barbara, can't think of her surname. And there was this battle going on, and suddenly Måneskin was creeping up. Now, he was at number one in the voting at some stage. Then it was France. Then it was back to Switzerland. Then it came up with Italy. And it was an epic battle. You really didn't know who was going to win. But I say, after listening to this, we're going to say he's okay. I just know he is. I'm looking forward to my first reaction to the lyrics and watching the video. I'm going to make a special thumbnail, as always, for this particular star to attract more people to listen to his music. Why? Let's take a listen. I'm sure it's not going to disappoint. I'm looking forward to this now.
Jour de sang, violent ravage, marche au loin devant, enraciné d'autres paysages. Toi, l'enfant, traverse les frontières. Sous les tremblements, nos yeux ont gravé ta silhouette. Quand tout devient noir, quand tu as le mal de vivre, espère encore, espère encore. Après les cauchemars, quand tes regrets sont décrits, espère encore et rêve encore. Espère, oui, mais pas. glace, nous sommes ceux qui restent pour garder la trace et les silences de ta silhouette. Quand tout devient noir, quand tu as le mal de vie, espère encore, espère encore. Après les cauchemars, quand tes regrets sont décrits, espère encore et rêve encore. Refais ton histoire. Quand tout devient noir, quand tu as le mal de vie, espère encore, espère encore. Après les cauchemars, quand tes regrets sont décrits, espère encore et rêve encore. Espère, oui, mais faire l'hiver glace. Et pour ceux qui restent, je graverai la trace et les silences de ta silhouette.
Good grief. He held everybody's attention in the 2021 Eurovision, and that is why. Somebody said, how do you describe his vocals? Because they go from the sublime to the surreal when he hits the high notes. And I said, his voice has been trained because you couldn't hold the kind of octave that he does. It's not many high octaves, it's an octave. And you couldn't hold it in the way he does unless you were trained, because that would really hurt the vocals. But when you put it together with the music that he produces, it's quite epic and it's very individually him. And that's what I love about him. Honestly, if that went for the Eurovision this year, all the talk about Mahmood and Blanco winning it outright with their ballad, Tut 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 Tut, Italy, you would have had severe competition with him. It's such a pity he represented in 2020, then 2021, because I think you don't really do it more than twice or three times max. But I think Johnny Logan did it for Ireland three times or twice. But you come back years later to give people a break. But it's a pity because that would have given good old Italy a run for their money, don't you think? Let's get on to the lyrics. My interpretation. Another question Softin asked about Swiss people. Some Swiss people have gone in singing Italian. Some Swiss people, even in the past, the famous Celine Dion singing French. If you know geography, and I'm sure a lot of people do, you're not stupid today on social media, but I'm going to point it out just to those who might not be aware. The Swiss is divided into quite a few languages. Romanique, the ancient language, Italiano, German, but they speak their own German. For example, instead of Guten Morgen, it would be Ruseli, that kind of thing. They have their own flavored language for the Italian, for the Swiss. And you can see him in the background. That's my little dog Paco, always wanting to get up when I'm talking. And then it's Romani, Swiss, French, Italian, and the English. So there you go. A multiverse culture, and he sings in the French. So when it comes to Silhouette, what is it all about? Let's take a listen. I loved it. I just think he's honestly uniquely unique on his own. There's no comparable to him. I don't find I personally can get anybody that I can say, well, he sounds like Gion's Diaz. No. So we start with verse 1. Blood day, violent havoc, walk far ahead. Rooted in another landscape, you child, cross the borders under the tremors. Our eyes have engraved your silhouette. Chorus, when everything turns black, when you're struggling to live, hope again, hope again. After the nightmares, when your regrets are cries, hope again and dream again. Hope again, but leave. So just before I go into what I feel my interpretation would be, I want you to read out what he said in an interview on his Instagram post about this song. Gian himself explains how Silhouette came into the life and the meaning behind the lyrics. Apart from being a war-themed song, I'm glad because I felt this straight away. I said, is this a war song? I'm glad I'm reading this out now. It's a war-themed song. Silhouette has a real-life meaning for the artist, as he repeatedly stated in his live videos and as it featured on Gian Tier's daily entries and Gian's current label, Joe & Co.'s tweets. The story of the song can be traced back to the time of Kosovo War, when his grandmother told her son to leave and build a life somewhere that he could be happy. So Gian's father moved to Switzerland. So that is the scenario behind the song. I immediately picked up on that and I thought, oh, I'm going to go on a different crazy route here. But now it's steered me back to reading out the lyrics and giving you my interpretation. So it's memories of a story of the Kosovo War and his father having to move to Switzerland. So with that in mind, I will hopefully do these lyrics respect. So Blood Day, violent havoc, obviously Kosovo War, told by his father about what had happened and the parting of the family. Walk far ahead. It's advice given by his father's mother, Gian's grandmother, obviously. Rooted in another landscape, you child. So he was a child rooted in this new Swiss life. Cross the borders under the tremors. So even though you cross the borders, you are a new person to a land, and I love Switzerland. It's a wonderful, embracing country to so many people that did escape wars and did get into Switzerland. And I personally know somebody who went through that, and she told me that, and her name was Ariana. Hi, Ariana, if you're listening, you're famous. And she told me that they were behind, and she came from Croatia, and they were behind fences when they were put in Switzerland. It wasn't a case of it was you were put into a little house and you could walk anywhere you want. It wasn't like that. She said it wasn't a concentration camp at the same time. It was just you were kept within a confined space for a long time before you were put through the process. So as they crossed the border, they were under tremors in their heads, in their hearts, and our eyes have engraved your silhouette. So the silhouette obviously is, and him dancing, is his past life, his feelings, the stories that have come, for the memories of the loved ones that were lost, and for those that were lost that he loved and he didn't know. The chorus, when everything turns black, when you're struggling to live, hope again, hope again. And after the nightmares, when your regrets are cries, hope again and dream again. Hope, yes, but leave. So when Gian was in Switzerland and he was going through the process of living this new life, this strange world to him, missing his grandmother, because Kosovo people are very like Irish people, and Irish people are very like Italian people, and Italian people are very like Spanish people, and Spanish people are very like in all the other countries I can think of. What am I talking about? We're very family orientated, all of us. And there you go into a new country, struggling with emotions, fears, apprehensions, having to speak new languages, not just a new language in Switzerland, new languages, and having to come into a situation where it's all of an age where you can feel and sense the change. Probably if he had been even younger, he would have been okay, but at that tender age, if you know, he was young enough to absorb, oh, this is a big change in my life. So he hoped and he dreamed, and then he felt regretful because there was a war, and I'm sure his father said many people have died. We're very lucky to be given this chance. It's great. But he cried for his grandmother and he cried for his lost life and he cried out of fear. But he was hopeful and he was grateful at the same time. A battle of emotions took place. Verse 2, I see winter, we are the ones left to keep track, and the silence of your silhouette. So you didn't speak about what went on. You learned to be strong and keep your thoughts and emotions to yourself. We're the ones left. So others died in Kosovo, others perished, others had difficult lives, but they're the ones that are left in this situation, that moved forward, that took the risk, and their brothers and sisters and family, and brothers and sisters as in neighbours, friends, all of it, people, Kosovo was left in this war-stricken environment. So you kept silent about it, and you hoped and you cried at nights on your own, but you kept silent. You didn't really talk about it because it hurt too much. So the chorus says, when everything turns black and when you're struggling to live, hope again, hope again. And that's good advice in these lyrics for everybody. My thoughts are with the Ukraine at the moment, under threat by, and for legal reasons I cannot say, Mr. P, their neighbour. And my prayers and thoughts are with you, because no country, when you have a person who feels they want to bring imperialism back into the world, you've got to almost say to them, I'm sorry, the world has moved on. And some leaders just don't recognise that, and it's such a pity, because Ukraine has moved on. It wants to continue moving on, and we as the world need to support that. That's all I'm going to say. And when you have a lyrical song like this, and it's about the war-themed Kosovo situation, I'm sure Gian Tears is like, I wrote this and now look what's happened. He probably didn't think in his lifetime, after hearing stories from his grandmother, he would be repeating scenes from his childhood. But unfortunately, I'm sure he will. And we hope in the future we all don't. Prayers to the Ukraine. And for those in Kosovo that lost as well. When your regrets or cries, hope again and dream again. And we all do. We all do. Redo your story when everything turns black, when you're struggling to live, hope again, hope again. After the nightmares, when your regrets or cries, hope again and dream again. Hope, yes, but leave. In other words, hope that your dreams will come true, but leave the nightmares and the past as the past to move on. Gian Tears, I think you're an incredible lyricist. This is absolutely an incredible song to be giving you an interpretation of, considering world politics at the moment. It's almost like you have a crystal ball. And it's very moving lyrics, especially the last few sentences here. Winter ice, and for those who remain, I will engrave the trace and the silence of your silhouette. I'm almost welling up and controlling myself here, because the image that came into my head when I'd initially read these lyrics was, there's the winter ice and Gion's little footprints and his father's footprints ploughing through the Swiss snow, crossing his country, crossing over into the Swiss snow, his little footprints and his father going on the track and leaving behind the footprints all the way across the border. Almost like in my head there was this borderline, little footprints of his father and him, little footprints crossing over into Switzerland. And it was winter. And those little footprints across the border remained, and the new footprints to his new future began. And he says, I will engrave the trace. It'll always be in his head, the journey. And the silence of your silhouette. Yes, I will, in respect, always keep my anger, my upsets to myself. And be grateful for the life that my grandmother told my father to go and live, because I'm living it. A wise woman, your grandmother, a strong woman. Lovely, lovely lyrics. And that's my lyrics interpretation, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed your reintroduction to Gian Tears. Silhouette. Thanks for listening. Please comment and subscribe. And please check out the attached video to this, which is Aidan that should have won for Malta for 2022. You take a look and you decide. Take care for now.